Hello, my name is Bob. Just call me Bob, I guess. If you're watching this, would you please do something for me? Think of any topic, video game, book, movie, anything at all, and comment it, what it is, and what you want me to talk about it, and I might show it on this channel. Now, because nobody else is really watching me, I'm sure I can definitely find your comment. And right now, this is my first video. You know by the title that this will be talking about the Judge, or Judge Holden from Blood Meridian. This is just some unscripted rambling. I do have a PNG that I would like to start using, but I can't because I'm unable to upload images onto PlayStation. I will try. I will. But right now, I have not been able to. So, if you have any tips for that, please also leave that in the comments. But, I'm starting my first episode of what I am calling... Jesus Christ. What I'm calling Analyzing the Darkness, which will be me talking about disturbing, creepy, just characters that I enjoy that are considered creepy by most. And the first character I'm talking about, like you heard before, will be Judge. Or, like I said before, Judge Holden from Cormac McCarthy's masterpiece known as Blood Meridian. Now, to start with the general breakdown, just in case you haven't heard of him, he is a tall, pale, hairless man. Known by the main character of the book himself, the kid. His own words are described as incredibly disturbing. He does not appear to age. He never sleeps, and he seems to delight in so many heinous acts. And he seems near omnipotent. And I'm going to break down all the things he could be, what my general consensus is, and just my general opinion about the character. Starting off, most people think of him as a Mephistopheles, or a stand-in for the devil. And in this interpretation, he is considered, like I said, the devil. That's what most people think. Some people also believe he is a Gnostic demiurge, or, my personal opinion, I think he's an Archon. But let's start with the most likely option, and the most well-known, that him being nothing more than the devil himself. Now, the horcrux of this theory is that he's always depicted with interpretations of Christian symbols. Is it the upside-down cross, or him being in a tavern and a tavern goer speaking of the wrath of God lying sleeping? It is clear that he is definitely satanic in some way, as Edward Arnold, a famous author, says that he is clearly satanic in some way. And the big idea of the Judge is really unknown, but people thinking of him as the Abrahamic devil has a lot of roots in the fact that he is known to be a master at the fiddle, and clearly delights in making deals with people around him. As one of the characters asked the Judge for help in the book and asked what he can give them, he said, "What is it that you could give me that you haven't already given?" Even though there was no direct deal between him and the member that he was talking to, or between him and the Glanton gang, which is the gang he was a part of, it's clear that some deal was stricken between him and Glanton to allow what's happening to happen. And him being the embodiment of the Abrahamic devil would make the most sense out of all the theories, I feel like. But it's not my favorite. My favorite is the representation of him as a Gnostic Archon. I will get to that shortly, but right now, there's no real thing that stops him from being the devil. There's no evidence pointing against it. There's no lack of evidence. And leading most to believe that he is the embodiment of the Abrahamic devil. And with that, there's proof against the theory, and there's not. To be correct, Cormac's big idea of the Judge being the devil, isn't kind of cliche, but I feel like Cormac McCarthy is such a good writer that no matter what he writes, as long as he does it properly enough, it won't matter. And just like that, just big evil man being the devil. And somehow that is one of the most recognizable characters in all of fiction. And people thinking of him as the devil makes a lot of sense. He is clearly evil. He makes deals. He plays the fiddle. So there's no evidence against him being the devil. And if the only evidence for something is the lack of evidence, then I feel like this is a good theory to take into interpretation. Now, do I believe that the Cormac McCarthy would write him as the devil? No, I don't. I think he would write him as a demiurge. Which the demiurge, if you don't know, is rooted in Gnosticism. Gnosticism is basically, how do I describe it? In very loose terms, Gnosticism is how people interpret Christianity, basically. It starts off with a very, very quick lesson. The world was not created by the he god in Christianity, but he was created by a demiurge, which made the world out of illusions and hidden scriptures. And putting a lot of work into this, they made archons to basically be their servants, to help cause destruction. And knowledge of the good God is how you reach heaven in Gnosticism. And that, I feel like, makes the most sense. But I'm not done with all of the points about the Abrahamic devil. I do want people to understand that you're talking about Cormac McCarthy, who's written some of the best books ever made, in my opinion. So would he really write the main villain as the devil in that book? In a book that he clearly holds himself so close to? You'll never know, because sadly, Cormac McCarthy can't tell us himself anymore, seeing as he died in 2023. But the fact that he can be the Abrahamic devil really speaks a lot to me, because it shows that even somebody so complex and deep can be rooted in such a normalized concept at this point. Think about it. What was the last time you read something and that had the devil in it? Think of it. Probably a kid's cartoon. Because, let me think. Futurama has the devil, has the robot devil. He makes deals, who's easily a twisted guy, but nobody really cares about him because they don't treat him like such. Cormac McCarthy treats him as a force of nature. He doesn't treat him as a person. He doesn't treat him as a thing. He treats him as an embodiment of nature itself. And him being the Abrahamic devil would be the perfect point to leave that on. He is not here to kill. He is not here to he's not here to kill. He's not here to do anything. He is here to make deals and corrupt people. And when the Glanton gang let the judge into their hearts, they clearly became more evil. Like, they weren't a group of priests or anything before they met the judge. But later in the novel, they just start killing people for no reason. And I feel like that just speaks volumes. It's clear that the judge is corrupting them. And to go back on what I said earlier, what have you given that you haven't... What can you give me that you haven't already taken? And that is a great line. Because it showed that some deal was made between them. In the Christian Bible, people believe that you can't sell your soul to the devil because it's not your soul to begin with. It's not yours to sell. And the judge trying to take that and always going after people who are the closest to Adam and Eve before they ate the apple is exactly what the devil would do. Going after an autistic man that doesn't really, that clearly isn't that well known in anything. Or him going after children. He constantly goes after children throughout the book. And it's because those people are the closest to not being corrupted by this world. And I feel like that makes the most sense. And if that's what Cormac McCarthy was writing, then he did a damn good job at writing just the devil. Now, if you are liking the video so far, I would like to get this over quickly, but if you are, then I put a lot of work into it. I wrote a whole script. I played Detroit Become Human for the first time. I put a lot of work into this. So if you would, it takes you like 10 seconds, and it helps me a ton to get my first few subscribers. Thank you. Now, the other theory that I've been mentioning, him being a Gnostic demiurge. So, like I have described before, a Gnostic demiurge is the creator of our world. But our world is our material world, the world of our pain. And the good God is trying to bring us to the immaterial world, the world of pure enjoyment. As the idea of the judge being a demiurge was started by Leo Doug Hardy, and later nearly perfected by Petra Mundik. But the idea was the world of Blood Meridian is always seen to be adjacent with evil, from the mountains to the sun being described as harmful and even malevolent in some cases. And the way that Petra describes it, the world is made of illusions and mirages. A trickery that kid himself, the main character of the novel, consistently sees hallucinations while he's in a state of sort of delirium. And this completes the line of Gnosticism, and even the judge's description as a pioneer of counterfeit coins. As Petra points out, that being the pioneer of counterfeit money is a symbolism of being the pioneer of a counterfeit reality, of a counterfeit world of materialism. And some people believe that the demiurge, which is the creator of our world of material, is a different light, which is no true God. The good God is the person trying to save us from that in Gnosticism. And I feel like some people thinking that he is a demiurge and is a good theory. And I feel like it makes more sense than the Abrahamic devil. And but I think he's more of an archon, the servant of some sort of god. And I feel like that perfectly describes the judge as a man known as hate and destruction that nearly wants only chaos, but also wants to make people forget about the good God, forget about everything that has come across this world. The best part of the story I could think of for this was when the oh my god, okay, sorry, I just had a complete wipe. Let's get back to the video. Sorry about that. But I feel like the judge gets represented amazingly in this book, and if he is the demiurge, I feel like it makes the most sense. But I do believe he's the archon because of, spoiler alert, but when the Glanton gang gets killed by the Yuma tribe, he just gets up out of the rubble and fire and just walks away. Even though those were seemingly his friends that he spent almost a year with, it's still, he just left them. He just didn't care. Because in the Archon's world, all he wants is chaos. He wants to bring people to the Demiurge's realm. He does not want people to see the light of the good God. And there's nothing better than just to do it. He's not doing it for money, fame. He's tempting the Glanton game into doing this for money, fame, and power. But throughout the novel, we realize that he doesn't want any of that. And even though the Glanton gang started with wanting that, he eventually started to harm people for no reason and destroying loot that they were escorting because they had nothing better to do and they were bored to do it. And they were bored escorting it. Because the money and fame and the power isn't what they want anymore. They want more. They want to control what they have. They don't want to control what they have. They want more of it. They don't want to do slow, tedious things. They want more. The judge, in my opinion, is the interpretation of greed and selflessness. At the end of the book, he is described as he is described to have to be immortal as he was dancing over the kid's body. And him being described as immortal while dancing over his body isn't, I think, a triumphant victory. I feel like that's more of a symbolism of him, like, how do I describe it? Of him losing his control, him not being able to get what he wants. He wants to control people. He wants to send people to the demiurge. But he failed when he did that to the kid, because he was forced to kill him himself. Because he was forced to kill the kid himself, he was indirectly stopping him from teaching the gospel word. And the kid constantly refusing to fully go ahead with all the Glanton gang's murderous ideas is showing that he was the only person not truly corrupted, the only person who didn't let the judge into their hearts. And the fact that he was forced to kill him, I don't think was a sign of victory. It was a sign of his failure. And writing everything down in his twisted little notebook is also symbolism to him trying to understand everything about the world that his God created. Everything that he wants and everything he wants to show, he has to tell, because he has to try convincing people otherwise. Now, I feel like he is the demiurge or an archon. I like the idea of him being the devil, but I feel like it's the least likely option. Because him describing himself as nearly omnipotent is weird to me, because he's describing himself as that. And the Abrahamic devil normally is omnipotent in most writings. The only person in any of these lores that I've been talking, any of these religions that I've been talking about, that isn't completely like knows everything, isn't completely omnipotent, is an archon, because they only know what their demiurge has told them. So if they learn more, of course they're going to keep that somewhere. They're going to have to write that down somewhere, because they have to know. They have to figure that out. They want to know things, but they also need to follow their goal. Their goal to kill, their goal to corrupt and convert people. And I feel like the issues are, you need more time to converge. I really feel like that he is an archon, because him describing himself as nearly omnipotent is the only real pin against the demiurge theory. But it's a perfect segue into the archon theory, and I feel like it just makes the most sense. Because him being described as never aging, tall, 7'7" if I'm not wrong, and hairless, is exactly what somebody who described an archon would be. A tall, hairless person that is clearly evil in some way, but you can't tell what. And I feel like he is an archon. And I feel like, knowing all of this, I feel like you guys, if you haven't read this book before, please go ahead and read Blood Meridian. I know a few audiobooks online that you only have to spend a few bucks to read. I know a lot of different ways to read that book. And please, if you haven't heard of it before, please read it. It is the best book I think I've ever read. And the judge is a character that will never leave your mind. And now that you know all these things, the fact that he could be a demiurge, the devil, archon, really can put you in perspective. And if you guys have your own theories, or if I messed up anything about the judge himself, please go ahead and comment. Let me know if I messed up any of my points, if I messed up the names of any characters. I feel like I botched the name of a few people. But the Judge Holden, is an incredibly interesting character. Because no matter what you really do, you always remember him. I read that book, 10 years ago for the first time now? And I still was thinking about him, so I had to rebuy the book, because I gave it away to somebody. Because books I like, I feel like I need to give away, so other people can read it. And I feel like... Jesus, sorry. I'm sort of sick today, so this isn't what I would normally sound like. But him being any of these things is a very good representation of what he is what he is. And I feel like people 50 years from now will still be reading the Blood Meridian and still comparing it to real life things. If those real life things change, then so be it. They will still be things. No matter what, I feel like people will still remember Blood Meridian and the Judge as an amazing tale, an amazing novel, an amazing book. And I feel like that Cormac McCarthy now dying in 2023 really saddens me. It saddens me because we will never truly know what the Judge was. What did Cormac McCarthy think of when he was writing him? Because the Judge is a twisted character. And I feel like has to be known, has to be represented in some way all the time. Even if it's not the Judge immediately, there are still other times where he can be there, where you will remember him. Every time I watch Futurama now, I'm not even kidding, I still think of the Judge whenever I see the Robot Devil. Just because he is such a good character that he would never leave your mind. And I feel like people 50 years, even 100 years from now, will still be talking about the Judge, still be talking about what he is and what's my ideas about him. And I feel like those things might change. I feel like a new religion might come up that represents the Judge, and boom, people are going to start thinking that now. It's all a matter of interpretation, but the interpretation is so good that no matter what happens, you can't necessarily go away from it. You can't necessarily think of something else. Now, it's one of the best books I've ever read. If you haven't, I would really, really, really suggest reading it. And like I said earlier, this is the end of the video. This is all I really wanted to talk about. My first video ever. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, please take that 10 seconds out of your day to like and subscribe. I really hope you guys do. And please leave a comment down below if I messed up anything. If there's a video game, book, movie you like. Analyzing the darkness is just a passion project of mine. But if you want me to talk about something else, I'm going to find your comment, okay? So please, just try. Bye-bye. Thank you.